So how are you lads? You alright?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Good to be part of this.
It's been a good week. Do you know what? It has took us a while to get us all three together.
Yeah.
Just because life's so busy.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's good to be in the room.
Which is a good thing. So what have you been doing this today? Then you've been at work.
Been at work all week, mate. I was on a elite intense training course all day yesterday. It was fucking hectic, mate. I had to do like acting and stuff like that. You know what? We could probably use some of it in the project. Honestly, because there was some real good like teamwork stuff. So we can throw that into the project. We'll talk about it in a bit.
Yeah,
but you know what? It's been a good week.
Yeah.
Can't really complain.
Are you alright, Sam? Yeah.
I've had a good week. It's been long, but I'm at the weekend. Yeah, do you know, I can't really moan. And life's busy, and grateful it's busy nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm grateful I've got something to get up and do.
Yeah. Okay. All right then. So this is a podcast. Obviously, we're called the Drug Squad Cast. And like I said, this is where we're going to talk about all things addiction. So I think it's important to let our listeners know who we are, because we're going to be speaking each week, so it's important that they are. So I'll start. My name's Kieran. I'm 35. I'm from Coventry. I'm in recovery at the minute. After a long history of substance misuse. I'm a father of one, and really loving life at the minute. So that's me in a nutshell. Pete, what about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Pete. I'm 33. I'm also from Coventry. I live my life in recovery. I've been in recovery for a couple of years now. Soon to be celebrating 18 months clean on Boxing Day.
Oh yeah, I've been clean since when was my clean date?
January.
January the 1st.
New Year's Day.
2021. So I'm nearly a year clean.
That's
So
amazing.
New Year's Day. It's a year.
Yeah, I'll be a year on New Year's Day. So you're approaching
18 months on Boxing Day. So our week's going to be similar, isn't it?
Yeah.
That can be cool. That'll be good, that will. Yeah, so I'm a dad of one. Newly, I had a little daughter, Ava. She's just over 4 months old. Work full time. And life's pretty good, to be honest.
And the third member is
Sam. My name's Sam. Also in recovery from Coventry. I'm 27. And I'll actually be celebrating a bit of a milestone. I'll be 5 years sober, clean, abstinent from all mind and mood altering substances on Tuesday. So big milestone for me. I came into recovery, or found recovery, or got thrown into recovery, however you want to put it, into a rehab centre at 20, and my life just got better. It weren't straightforward from the start, but I found recovery at an early age, and I'll be turning 5 years this Tuesday. And
5 years without nothing.
5 years, teetotal.
Not even a shandy.
Not even a shandy, mate.
Get away.
I swear.
Not even a spliff.
I'm not bullshitting you this time.
No pipes.
No pipes. Nothing.
No foil. No nothing.
Nothing at all, mate.
It's amazing. It's a fantastic.
Oh, we're all fantastic here.
Yeah.
What
Wow.
we do.
Yeah. Any addict who's got a day clean is a miracle in my eyes, in all of our eyes. I think now we need to talk about the reason why all three of us are sat here together on a Friday night, trying to put together a podcast in which we're trying to I think we're trying to break down walls, aren't we? Because I think if you mention drug addict to people, you're never greeted with a smile, or it's always that. It's hard to do that look that you do when you mention drug addict to people. It's like,
yeah.
It's the stigma, isn't it?
It's a stigma.
Yeah.
You know,
if you mention drug addicts around people, they're like, pockets, purse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
They think we're after something. So.
I don't think we look like drug addicts.
Nah,
we don't just look like we've had problems with any sort of
I used to.
substances.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We just look like normal people, and that's what we're trying to get out to, isn't it?
Just because people have taken drugs, they've misused drugs and alcohol, they've ended up banging trouble, they've lost it, doesn't mean they're bad people.
No.
It just means they've used substance to change the way they feel. That's my outlook on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we want to. I understand some people don't want to talk about their history of drugs. It's not an easy subject to talk about, but I think it's important that someone does, and we want that people to be us. We want to get out there in Coventry, where we're all from, and and say that if you are struggling with drug addiction, you're not alone. There's people out there who are just like you, and we want to help. And now, I think it's important to let our listeners know what's brought us together, and that is that the three of us have, between us, started a project which we've called the Dynamo Project. Dynamo is an acronym, and it stands for Dedicate Yourself Now and Miracles Occur. Okay, and within this project, we're trying to help what I believe is what do you call it, a pandemic, a worldwide pandemic with drugs.
It's been going on for years and years, way before us.
I know. It's just been a problem, and there's no solution.
No, and I think when I hear politicians speak and I hear celebrities speak about, they always speak about the substance. Always talk about drugs. I know, you know, and you know, because we've got experience that drugs are going nowhere.
Yeah,
so we're talking about something that's never going to change.
And I've got no, plans to change any of that. But personally, what I know we can change is the help that can be offered to people that are struggling with drugs and alcohol issues, because that's what's needed. The rest of it, that's all politics. We can't change nothing like that. But what we can change is we've got the experience. We have got the credentials for it. You know what I mean? Because we've got lived experience. Yeah, we're living proof here. We've got years between us. Fucking years of not using.
And we're all willing to discuss our history.
100%.
And this isn't a podcast where you're going to hear us three go on about our successes, because at this moment in time they're limited. There's been a lot more failure in my life than success because of the choices I made, and I'm not speaking for you two, but I'm sure you can relate to that.
Any success in my life has been since I completely stopped using drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
And they have come thick and fast in a small amount of time. But I'm exactly the same as what you said. All my failures behind me.
Yeah.
They're all from, they weren't just from using, but they were while I was using. Everything I did, I turned to shit, you know what I mean? So I can definitely put my hand on my heart and say, from the time I actually, put everything down, took my recovery serious, things have just got better and better and better. Like you said, we're sitting here tonight on a Friday, doing a podcast, trying to help the people get what we've got. That's what we're doing. Yeah,
and we just want to shatter that illusion that they think they're alone and no one wants to help them.
The silence is killing them.
Yeah.
To stay in silence, you'll die from this shit.
So the Dynamo Project, then, this is something that I don't know if I've told you this, but it's always been in my mind to do something along this. Even when I was off my face, sniffing in my bedroom on my own, I always thought, wouldn't it be great to do something to help people who are like me now? So it's been in my mind, and I finally built up the courage to get these thoughts out of my head and into reality. And that's when I spoke to my dad about starting the Dynamo Project, and he was all for it, and he's still supporting us now, isn't he, to get things up and running. And my dad said to me about, is it something that you want to do alone? And I said, I don't think it's possible on your own to do that. So then he said to me about, who would you like to come on board with you in the project? And I'm not just saying that because you two are here. I used to the first names into my head, and I can assure you that I've asked nobody else ever to be part of the project. It will change in future, but the two people I wanted was yourself and Sam. So and I want to make it. I started this project because I'm really worried about the society that my daughter will find herself in when she's 18, 19. And I'm really worried that she's going to be in a society that's riddled with drugs. And
she is.
And I'm never going to be able. I'm never going to take drugs out of the way for Freya. I'm never going to do that. They're always going to be there, I reckon. But I want to make sure that she's in the best position available to make an informed choice at that point to say, my dad went through this. My dad works very hard to stay away from it. I'm going to follow that lead, and I'm going to make a decision to walk away. And if I can do that for Freya, then we can do that for other people. It's going to make everything worthwhile. So I remember I approached you and Pete to come and join me on the project. What was your initial reaction to it? What was going through your mind when I spoke to you about the project?
When you approached me about the project, to be honest, when you first told me about it, I thought straight away, my first thought on it was, this city needs something like this. And like you told me, very loose, basic.
Did you say Coventry's got a big drug problem?
Massive. There's no streets.
Do you see evidence of it every day of a drug problem?
Every day.
At work.
My workplace. Yeah, my workplace, around where I live, where my mother lives. It's absolutely everywhere. I think I see it so much because I see the traits, so I know what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
Like, I know if someone's scoring, I see someone on the phone, I know what's going on.
Do you reckon normal people see this stuff?
No, I think.
Do you reckon we're just so aware to it? We know
I
who's
think
doing what.
they'll see someone homeless,
Yeah.
and they might go, oh, it's a shame, isn't it? But I don't think they put any consideration into why is that individual sat on that street begging for money with nothing. Why are that person there? And I'd say more often than not, it's to do with drugs.
Well, look, I've been around a few people before who, I've been in town. In our city centre, we've got quite a big homeless population now.
Yeah.
And I've been with people who are with me, and they've said, don't give them money, it's for drugs. And I know it's for drugs, and that's why I've given them money before, because I know the cycle they're in. Do you know what I mean? I don't go around giving people money for drugs, but if I ever give, I'm no fool to what's going on. You know what I mean? Where other people, like you said, who have never had any issues, that is, I think, is their mindset sometimes. Go, oh no, you'll spend it on drugs. Hang on, yeah, they are going to spend it on drugs. That's why they're there, like you said, because of drugs.
I think drug addiction, it's like people turn a blind eye to it and they don't pay no attention until they're personally affected by it.
Yeah.
If it's not a factor in their life, they don't give much consideration.
What I see as well is like just for instance, what we've just said there, me and you have just spoke about drug addiction, and we've both said, oh yeah, a homeless person on the street, but it's everywhere. There's people walking past me with a shirt and tie on, absolutely dying inside.
Yeah.
You cannot stop sniffing, drinking, taking pills, smoking gear, whatever. And he walks past you and you just go, look through him. Because he's not homeless, you can't see the pain he's in, you know what I mean? But they're everywhere. If you actually stopped him and said, what's going on for you? And he was really honest and saying, I can't stop fucking using, I am fucked. I mean, debt out my eyelids, my missus is going to leave me, I'm losing my house.
Yeah.
But they don't, just go, I'm sound. I'm all right.
So it's like project then, our vision is in a very small way to start things off, is to try and get the word out there that if you're suffering with addiction, if you can't stop using drugs, there is a way out and we can help facilitate that, so.
And to take away that stigma, isn't it? We don't look like your normal people who have had problems with substances or misuse drugs or anything like that. We just look like three normal guys who have got our lives together. Do you know what I mean? But at one stage, that wasn't the case.
No.
And that's what we want to change. We want to reach out to them people, the people in the suits, and all them sort of people that also have problems. You don't have to be a typical park bench drinker, homeless person. To have a problem with drugs and say I need help. I need help, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah, because everyone's consequences are different, aren't they? So,
Yeah.
So the project then, we're going to talk a little bit now, just to let you guys know about what the project will be essentially, and what the project will be is a number of factors. So we look at it as the project being as an umbrella, and underneath that we're going to try and we're in the process of buying a house, aren't we? In which we're going to provide accommodation for people who are looking to remain clean.
That's important. Remaining abstinent.
Yeah. So, so these are, I think these are called dry houses, aren't they?
Yeah, commonly known as dry houses.
Yeah, but we're going to move away from that terminology, I think, and our house is called Lilac, which is living in light and comfort.
Brilliant name.
So the dry houses that are available now, that we know of, from what we've spoke about, is a house that will accommodate 4 or 5 people. You move in there and you just live in there. You've got a roof over your head. That's it, right? That's not what we want to do, is it?
No.
So you come and stay at Lilac Housing. You get a roof over your head. You get a nice, warm, clean place to live. But you also get help with life skills. You also get taught how to live. You'll also be taken to meetings. You know, you'll if you want it, you will have a 12-step program introduced into your life. We will take you to meetings. You'll be introduced to the Dynamo Project, where you'll learn how to cook your food. You'll learn how to get yourself a bank account. You learn how to get your driver's license. You know, just these small things. I got all of this in recovery. I've only had a proper bank account with a contactless card for about 6 months. I'm 33 years old. So all these things to me, personally, were quite a big deal. You know what I mean? I was like, I didn't even want to ask. Quite embarrassing, really. You know what I mean? Like, you can get all this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can get all this with the project.
So the project then is that, let's just talk about what our roles are going to be within the project. So I'm training how to be a personal trainer, because I'm a big believer that exercise is an excellent foundation on which to build your recovery. It's good for your mental health, it's good for your physical health. It's just good. It's just great in general. I don't believe exercise is pushed enough as a solution
100%.
for addiction. So that's something that I find important. You used to run a course, aren't you?
We're doing a level 3 counselling in drugs and alcohol misuse. Both of us are at the minute.
Yeah.
That's just that's just getting started at the minute. So
Just to have more knowledge of what we already know. You know, we've got great experience and knowledge of drugs and alcohol. It's basically to help do it in a more professional manner, you know, and take groups and do the things and help basically teach more, you know.
we'll be on site, you know, like in the Dynamo Project. We won't have to, if people need this kind of counselling or they need this kind of talk, we won't have to say, well, we'll try and get you in with so and so in a few weeks. We'll be on site, so it'll be like, okay, well, you know, we'll make a time. However we're going to do it, in our offices, in our rooms, in the soft room, whatever.
So when they come, when these people come and stay with us, we don't want people who are going to stay there long term, don't we? It's all about giving them the skills they need, the confidence they need to get back out into society,
Get their life back,
and become a productive member of that society. Because we have a little bit of experience at dry houses, and this is only my opinion. They're all about filling them up as quick as they can.
Yeah.
It's a cash cow, isn't it?
Yeah, which is okay because the dry house need money to be sustainable. I understand that. But then I think there's a danger that money becomes more important than the individual. Whereas we want to focus on the individual. We want to give them time. You know, we want to really help them because they can go anywhere to get clean. But I think in Coventry specifically, there is a lack of organisations that will help people remain clean and give them purpose in life to have the life that they deserve, which at the minute, if they're still using, they don't think they deserve. I'm telling you, you do.
From what we've actually spoke about in our previous meetings and stuff, you know, what I really like about the project is that we're not just providing a home with a room where it's still dark and a bed. Do you know, we're going to provide that comfort, that light. You know, from what we've talked about, you know, we are going to be able to offer more. You know, for the people that are just moving in, because some people haven't got
get them out and about, aren't we? We're going to organise days away. We're going to come in with nutritional advice. We're going to come in and have dinner with you. We're going to come in and spend time with you. You know what I mean? We're going to come in and we're going to take you to meetings. I think it's important to add that me, Pete, and Sam are all follow a 12-step approach to our recovery, which for people that aren't familiar with that means that we go to meetings. We work a program where it consists of step work, which will take you back to look at the reasons as to why you make the decisions you make. We all have a sponsor, and we all share. We all talk about where we're at, and you know that's what we're looking to do for our people that come to us, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we're just trying to give what we've been given. Do you know?
Yeah.
You know, we've all had our experiences of trying all these different ways of how to stop using drugs or stop doing this, or you know, doctors and prescriptions.
Yeah.
And, you know, loads of different ways. Psychiatrists. You know, all them different things. None of them work for me.
And we're not looking to reinvent the wheel, are we? We're not, there's great organisations in Coventry that do their best. So we're not here to compete with them. We're here to assist them in any way we can. And even if we make a very marginal difference in someone's life.
Someone's life, someone's family's life, you know.
Yeah, I think it's important that we mention that we will be supporting families of addicts as well.
Yeah. What's the one thing harder than being an addict?
being with an
living with an
Yeah,
addict.
that's it. Being with one or being related to one, being around one.
You know, and I want to get the message out there that we're not talking to addicts now or people that are on drugs now. We're talking to their mums and their dads, their brothers, their sisters, their wives, their husbands, their daughters, their sons. We can help. We can try and help you guys. You know,
Definitely, because there's not much support for families. If we can get families together and let them know what's going on, because some families or family members might just have suspicions that their children or their brother or even their parents are struggling and it's getting out of hand.
yeah,
So we will have a place from to come. We'll be online. There'll be contact email addresses, just to get in touch with us. Or to come to the project, you know what I mean? Come to our open days for families and see what's going on. I think that'll be a massive help.
yeah. We'll
because
definitely
my
do
family
things
struggled,
like that.
and I know I've spoken to a member of your family,
Yeah.
and he was in a lot of pain over
Yeah,
it. You know what I mean? I imagine yours was too. Mine,
I was hard to live with.
yeah, I caused hell to people, and I covered mine up very well, so it went on for a lot longer than it should have.
So we need to get the word out there that we are starting something that we're going to try and help people who suffer with addiction. And so this is the reason why we have come together and we decided that we're going to do a podcast. I've never done a podcast before.
No,
You haven't.
Definitely not.
You haven't.
Watched
It's
loads, I've watched
alien.
about it.
It's alien to us. I couldn't even work out how to press record earlier. So,
I
but
just can't get over the fact we lost 30.
and it's cracking stuff as well. We said that a few times, haven't we? But it's about how we're going to get the word out there. How do we communicate with people out there who don't know where to turn? And I think a podcast is a great way, and that's why we have created this Drug Squad cast. And I think it's a great way to get the word out there and try and reach people that we would not ordinarily reach. And if they want it, they can get in touch with us.
There's so many people out there, who just are just there, living a horrible life and don't have any answers to their problem.
They think their fate's sealed. They think they're going to be a baghead or a sniffhead or an alkie the rest of the days. If you want to stop, it's important to stress that. If you don't want to, you can't do nothing. You've got to want to stop. You know, it's like they probably know. If you're listening to this, if you're listening to this podcast, you know that you've got a problem with drugs and or alcohol.
Yeah.
You know, whether you accept it or not is crucial. Until you accept it, we can't help you.
But like where I'm from, like the council say I'm from, before I found recovery on accident. But before that, honestly, no one ever talked about getting clean because it just didn't exist. Like you either died, you went to jail forever, or like just in and out, or you just fucking lived a horrible life. And that was it. There was no like, do you fancy coming? Bit of recovery. There was. What do you mean? Like there was none of that. Like, one of my pals' brothers said to me before, and I remember him saying to me, "How many ex-crackheads do you know?" And that's when it dawned on me. I thought there ain't.
We know lots of like crackheads.
But when everyone's still smoking crack and all that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because everyone's still at it. So it's like, but I thought, I don't know anyone who's got clean of it unless they've moved away, and you never see them again, and they probably ain't got clean. They've just moved away and started using. That's probably what's happened.
We know a load of them as well.
Yeah, I did that as well. Wherever I went, I just did it there. You know what I mean?
So talking about our podcast then, I think it's important now that each podcast we do, obviously we're going to talk about all things addiction, we're going to talk about drugs, talk about alcohol, we're going to talk about our personal history, because I think it's important that we can only talk about our own experiences. So the format of our podcast will always be the same. We'll always have a little general chit chat about our weeks, how we are, and then we're going to have guests on, guests that are going to come on and they're going to talk openly and in detail about how addiction has affected them.
100%.
And we're always going to have a topic around that. So for example, it could be children in addiction, or relationships with addiction, or sex and addiction.
Yeah.
There are so many topics that we can cover, and then each episode we will focus on an individual topic. So before, a very good topic to touch upon very quickly, just to give people an insight into how these podcasts are going to go. The topic I think is, very briefly, let's tell our listeners about the very first time you knew you needed help. When I was raving with my E's and sniffing coke and dancing and trying to pull birds, which never worked, I didn't have a problem. I loved it.
Yeah.
That's what I loved. But I think as time progressed, I realised that I couldn't go out without a bag of sniff on me. It weren't happening. And then I couldn't go out because I had sniff. So I was at home with sniff. And it just progressed, the thing. And Pete, as he mentioned earlier, has become a father in recovery, which is fantastic. Lyndon also has just had a baby girl. I became a father in addiction. And I'll talk about this in more detail as the podcast progresses. But the first time I realised I needed help was the first time I held my little girl. And I knew I weren't going to stop without help. And it was a very, very humbling experience. And that, where we go at our 12 step, because I'm going to use a word now that is nothing to do with this. We haven't created this word. They talk about powerlessness, don't they? That's my first experience of powerlessness. When I held my daughter and I knew I've got to get help. Because you know when you've got that life in your arms, who's just come into this world and they need protecting.
Powerful.
Yeah, and I knew that at that current time in my life, without help, I couldn't be the dad I needed to be for her. And so
scary.
It was a very scary experience, but it was a very defining moment. Because from that point, I then went to my mum and dad and said, I need help.
Yeah.
And that set the ball rolling. So that was the first time I knew I needed help. So, like Pete, what would you say was the first time you needed help? A quick overview.
You know what? I've spoke to you about this before. Like, so in my active addiction, like I just mentioned a minute ago, I would leave the country to get clean, right? So I would do this a lot. I had friends that were really good to me, man. And I mean, really saved my life. I probably wouldn't be here today without them people. Who said, you know what, come to me, stay with me. They weren't addicts. There's a bedroom there, just don't use, you know what I mean? We're going to get you sorted. And then I'd come back. I'd use alcohol while I had no concept of recovery, so I would always use alcohol. Alcohol was the first drug I picked up and the last one I put down. It stayed with me my whole life. Yeah,
that's exactly the same for me.
Yeah, so the alcohol to me was like, I'm always going to drink. I have to drink now. I need to change the way I feel. But so I'd fly off. You know, people would help me with money and stuff, like get me away from, because I was dying.
Yeah.
And I was physically looking like I was dying as well. I got to that point where I was looking fucked. And then I was flying back to England, and for some reason I had to fly to Scotland and then to Birmingham. There was no direct flight.
Yeah.
I had to be back for a date. I think I had probation, to be honest. So I had to be back for this certain date. I'd been away for so long, and so I was flying on an internal flight. I don't know if you've been on a really small plane with the propellers, you know. I've never been on one before.
You weren't sniffed up though, yeah?
No. I wanted to.
You were high, literally.
I've never been higher. So like, I'm on this little ratty plane, and we're flying, you know, towards wherever, from Scotland to Birmingham, whatever. And I just thought, I know what's going to happen. When I land, I'm going to last a few days, and this cycle is going to happen again. And I remember being on the plane and I just thought, I'd prefer this plane just to crash. And that's when I thought, hang on a minute, I actually really mean that. It weren't like a self-pity when you think, I'd rather be dead, you know, or you say to someone, I wish, you know, it weren't that. It was an internal...
You genuinely, at that moment, wanted to die.
It was an internal thought, and I remember I had a little old lady sat next to me, and she didn't have a fucking clue what was going through my head. I was just sat there and I thought, I would prefer this just to crash. And my second thought was, I hope it don't hurt. I just thought...
So at that point in your life, you were hoping that took you as opposed to the drugs?
Yeah, I just thought, you know what, I'm going to hit the ground, and I'm going to be using it again, and I'm going to have to go through all... Because this has been gone on for years.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go... And I thought, I can't do this anymore. And to me, it was, again, I didn't know the word powerless then, and I probably wouldn't have said I was powerless at the time, because I was like... you know, the old me would have been like, I'm not powerless to anything, I can do anything I want, but the truth of it was, I knew what was fucking coming. So I got home, I went back to my partner, who had gone through this for years with me, when she was like, she'd fucking had enough.
Yeah.
And she said, what are you going to do? You ain't going to last 5 minutes. And I just thought...
And that's the first time you...
Oh man, it was when
you knew you needed help, it's proper...
It was the first time I went and found help, and I wanted help for me, not because others wanted me to get help. So not because I was like 9 stone, you know, like a shimmering wreck, people were saying, come on, do this, and I'd be like, okay, let's do that. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking, when you go, I am taking that money and I am going out there.
Yeah.
This was the point where I was thinking, I'm scared now, I need some fucking help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I am fucked. Because I knew, like, I'd get myself looking a bit better, you know, pump myself full of steroids and all that fucking malarkey, bit of a suntan. But before I went the last time, I saw a friend of mine who, in fact he messaged me earlier, I spoke to him for ages, and he said to me, you need to sort yourself out now, like, it's, you know, it's getting to that point where, and I said, I know I'm going to die. And he said, I ain't bothered about you dying. And I was like, he went, I'm bothered about you living for years like this being your life, like the rest of them in the estate. I just thought, whoa, that's worse.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that is.
that's worse. What if I lived till 70 like this? You know what I mean? Like, fucking hell, man. Imagine how skint I'd be then.
Yeah, so lost. Yeah, so
yeah.
very clear moment then.
Oh man, it was like a few of them little words, you know,
Yeah.
like, but being on that plane, and it was like, it weren't like, oh, poor me, I hope this crashes. It was like, you know what, if it did, it would be doing me a favour. And I thought, oh shit, I'm at that point where I'd rather be dead. Wow, what a fucking cunt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So Sam, what about yourself? When was the point you realised you needed help?
Do you know what? There was a few times. Do you know what I mean? I think for me.
Yeah, you had to pinpoint one defining moment.
Yeah. So for me, everyone else knew I had a problem before I did. I just want to get that in there.
Yeah.
Because my life was great.
You know, when my mum and dad said you got a problem, I said, no, you have.
With what?
You have me.
I ain't got no
Do
problem.
you know what I mean? So for quite a number of years, my life, I felt like everyone did what I did. Do you know what I mean? Everyone used drugs how I did.
Yeah.
Everyone drank how I did, but they weren't. Everyone was going off and going to college and going to universities and
Going home.
going home. Going home. I never went home. That was just one thing I think none of us did, you know. And there was loads of things that I always said I'd never do. I'd never use on my own. I'd never just be sat there on my own taking a load of drugs, you know, because then I've got a problem.
Yeah.
You know, if I can call it a day at a certain time, I'm all right, because I've got control then. I'm telling myself I can stop. I'm choosing to stop at 6 o'clock. That's enough. And there was just one instance, and like, no one around me. I'd come out of a rehab centre because I was forced to go in it, and it was up in Scotland. It was, and I went to this private rehab centre, and I come out, and within 24 hours I was using again, and I was in the shared house that I was living in at the time, and it was real. When we talk about the comfort of what we're going to offer, this was real dark. You know, I was in a dark room, in bed on my own, had been for a couple of days, and I was just using, and it was the first time when I heard powerlessness. It was the first time I got that, because I told myself I was going to stop in half an hour and put it away, and I'll keep it for the weekend. You know, one of them.
Yeah.
You know, if only I was one of them addicts. Do you know, one of them people who could put it away and use it. Do you know, who are they?
My mate at work used to show me a half a baggy sniff he had left on the Monday in his wallet,
That can't be real.
and he'd put it back in his wallet. And that bag of sniff would be on my mind all week. And it weren't even mine.
It's in his wallet.
He didn't get a second thought.
Nah, and I was at that point where I was telling myself every half an hour, I'm going to put it away. And that half an hour didn't come.
You just put it away, up your nose.
Yeah, I put it away. I finished it.
Well done.
I think I got more and finished that.
Yeah.
So until I was done, you know, I couldn't move, and I was like, fucking hell, this has gone on for 3 days, do you know, and I hadn't stopped, and I wasn't able to stop, do you know, and I was like, shit, I've got no money, what am I going to do like tomorrow, how am I going to eat, do you know, and I was like, I can't ask anyone for help, do you know, I can't ask anyone for help because no one's going to help me anymore, do you know, and I was lost, do you know, and that was my first moment of like, I need to stop doing this. Finally, I've realised it's the drugs, do you know what I mean, the drugs have won. I've lost, surrender, Sam. Do you know what I mean? You've done it.
Drugs don't work. Famous song by Richard Ashcroft. Very true.
Or did they work and they just stopped working for us? They worked.
I think they don't work in the way we presumed they work, but yeah, okay. Well, I think that would be a good place now to wind up the podcast. I think this is our first ever podcast, and so in a nutshell, we're just trying to let people know that you're not alone. It's okay to talk, and this podcast will be all about us talking about our own personal experiences of drugs, how it affected us, how it affected those around us, but also, so importantly, we're going to focus on what we do to remain clean, and just by remaining clean, great things happen.
100%, man.
Not great things, miracles occur.
Miracles.
Did I take that out of your mouth?
Yeah. I'm still going to finish on that. So we look forward to you guys listening again. The next podcast will be a completely different topic. It'll all be addiction related. We're going to have a guest on, and we're going to talk. I think it's fair to, I don't want to say we're going to be light-hearted about drugs, but I'm going to try and move away. We are going to try and move away from that stigma where it's all doom and gloom. You can't have a laugh.
Yeah.
You know, it's important to us that we get that
Plenty
message.
of fun in recovery, man.
Plenty of fun in being in recovery. You know, I've had some of the most sincere laughs.
Best times I've had in the last 18 months.
Yeah, and I go
took-
out now and I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't take
I remember
drugs.
when you used to never laugh.
Yeah, I should be off my fucking nut. That's what I mean. When I first met you, I was half asleep, wasn't I?
Yeah, I remember. Couldn't stay awake. Okay.
You know that well, don't you?
Yeah. So I think then that will bring us to the end of our first podcast. You know, I've really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward.
Really well, man.
I'm looking forward to the next one. You know, and
We'll
The
record the next one.
yeah. So 3 hopeless addicts together. You know, now the Drug Squad cast,
That's it, man.
and we hope that the project will take off and make a real big difference. If you listen to this and you can relate to anything and you have any questions whatsoever, we have an email address where you can email us, and that is questions@drugsquadcast.com. Okay, that is an email account that is private, that only us 3 have access to, and we will happily answer any questions or queries you may have, and we'll always get back to you in a reasonable time, and we'll always try our best to listen, to help. And if I don't know the answer, and if Pete don't know the answer, and Sam don't know the answer, I can assure you we know someone who does.
Oh, for real.
You're not going to get no bullshit from us, no judgment. So just remember, Dynamo Project. Dedicate yourself now, and miracles occur.
man.
Thank you. That's it. It's a wrap.